World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This is World News in 5 and I'm your host, Steph Vicente. United States President Donald Trump says that after discussions with the leadership of Pakistan, there will be a ceasefire between the US and Iran if Iran agrees to allow traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. The BBC reports President Trump has also stated he will agree to the 2-week ceasefire subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. It is noted that Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif urged President Trump to extend his deadline by 2 weeks to give diplomacy more time to work. In a post on X, the BBC reports, Prime Minister Sharif said efforts toward a peaceful resolution of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East are making steady progress and could soon produce meaningful results. He appealed to President Trump to allow more time for negotiations, saying this could help bring about a lasting solution. Prime Minister Sharif also called on Iran to temporarily open the Strait of Hormuz for 2 weeks as a gesture of goodwill. In addition, he urged all parties involved in the conflict to observe a 2-week ceasefire to give diplomatic efforts a chance to succeed. In other news overseas, shortly after warning sirens echoed across Bahrain, an uneasy calm settled over much of the capital Manama. According to BBC News, residents in high-rise buildings were advised to prepare for possible power outages, while the U.S. Embassy instructed all Americans to shelter in peace. Bahrain, which hosts the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters, has faced repeated nighttime attacks from Iranian drones and ballistic missiles, some of which have penetrated its air defenses. Iran has warned it could strike Gulf states with overwhelming force if tensions escalate further. Potential targets include critical infrastructure such as power plants and desalination facilities across the region. Meanwhile, in Qatar, a foreign ministry briefing drew a large international media presence, with one journalist describing the situation as apocalyptic. And finally, some officials in Iran are urging citizens to form so-called human chains around power plants, aiming to discourage possible attacks from the United States. The BBC reports Iranian Deputy Minister for Youth and Sports, Alireza Rahimi, said the campaign, called Human Chain for Iranian Youths for a Bright Tomorrow, was carried out nationwide. State media released video showing groups of people gathered outside a power facility, linking arms as part of the demonstration. Government posts on social media said participants condemned what they described as American and Israeli aggression and voiced strong support for Iran's military forces. They also warned that any attack on the country's infrastructure would be considered a war crime. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump criticized the reported use of civilians as human shields, calling it totally illegal in an interview with NBC News. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments, making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5, here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.